Welcome to another edition of Bet with Bobano. It is Monday, June the 10th. Ian Cameron and Connor Mack will be along in just a moment as well. And, we'll let Connor Mack speak on game two of the Stanley Cup final between Edmonton and Florida. I talked about it earlier today on the Ice Guys show. If you missed it, make sure you check it out after this show ends for my more in-depth thoughts on game two tonight. But we will give C-Mac the chance to talk about game two and give his picks for Oilers Panthers tonight. But really, other than that, it's going to be all baseball because that's really all that we've got today. I guess you could say there's a WNBA game. I do not handicap WNBA, so I can't help you there. But we do handicap baseball, and we do have a 7-game MLB slate tonight on this Monday night. So we'll get into that, and we will begin with an AL East matchup: the Baltimore Orioles and the Tampa Bay Rays. Corbin Burns on the mound for the Orioles, Pepio for the Rays, Ryan Pepio, that is. We've got Baltimore minus 140, road favorites, the total 7 here in this game tonight. It was a phenomenal baseball weekend for me. Probably the best weekend I've had betting MLB so far this season. For those of you that are, and by the way, I should point out, since we're waiting on CMAC, and before I get into the card, see if I can find the graphic here. There we go. Dubclub.win. Make sure you check that out. Dubclub.win/r/Bobano. There's the link. 350 subscribers. Are you shitting me? 350? I can't believe the amount of support I've gotten for the Dub Club Ian Cameron all sports subscription. It's been incredible since I moved to Dub Club. Of course, I started my career at Sports Memo. Okay. And I was there from 2012 to 2018. I made the decision to start a partnership with 2 other people at that time. It didn't go well. And then I decided, you know what? Rather than go back to another sports handicapping website, start on my own, do my own thing, run my own subscription service. And I've done that now for the last 5 going on 6 years. And it has been a great response, whether it's email subscribers. And then when I decided to register at Dub Club, I think in 2022, and in the 2 years I've been there, it's been a great response from everybody. I mean, 350 members subscribed with some kind of subscription, whether it's weekly, monthly, 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year, all sports subscriptions. So I can't thank you guys enough. The fact that, you guys are subscribed to that service there. So we appreciate that. And again, all the links for it are there. It's been it's funny how baseball's worked for me. It was a great start to the season. We went through a really bad May for the most part. And now the last couple of weeks, it's really picked up and heated up again here in the month of June and the late part of May. So great time to get on board. CFL's underway. Profitable week 1 in the CFL. NFL, college football are not that far away, believe it or not. We'll be talking NFL preseason in just 2 months. So again, great time to get on board. Dubclub.win/r/Bobano with that. All right, let's get into the baseball slate. We were talking Rays Orioles. The total is 7 in that game with Tampa Bay and with Baltimore. Look, I'm not stepping in front of the Orioles right now. I mean, you look at this team. They're playing really well. They've won the first 3 games in this series. They're looking for a 4-game sweep here at Tropicana Field. And they've got Corbin Burns on the mound, who's been lights out. He's given up 1 run, exactly 1 run in 4 of his last 5 starts. He's been brilliant. 4-1, the Orioles with Burns on the mound in his last 5 starts. Pepio's actually pitched pretty well himself. The Rays are 4-1 in his last 5 starts. He hasn't given up more than 3 runs in any start, but not going to be easy for the Rays when they have not hit the ball very well in this series to now trust them against the ace of this Orioles pitching staff, Corbin Burns. But Pepio's pitched well. I've been going back to the Orioles team total over and over again here in this series. Team total over 4.5. And I've won each of the first 3 games of this series. They scored 6 in the first game, 5 in the second game, 9 yesterday. And in all 3 games, I had Orioles team total over. And all 3 games they hit. I'd lean that way again, but I'm a little bit more leery. Pepio is in good form. he might be someone that can finally offer some resistance to this Orioles lineup. So I'm not as high on the Orioles team total today as I was in the first 3 games. I'd still probably lean that way. And keep in mind, Savali, Bradley, and Littell were the 3 pitchers for Tampa Bay. I would say Pepio is probably a little bit better than all 3 of those guys. So it could be a little bit more difficult for Baltimore's lineup. I don't think the Rays are going to do much damage against Burns the way he's rolling right now. So I lean Orioles team total over, but I actually think first 5 under might be something to look at with both starters here. We got CMAC with us. CMAC, what's going on? What do you think here, Orioles Rays?
Yeah, I did like this under. I mean, there's just no 7.5s now. They're all 7s, and the first 5 is basically all 3.5s. There's no more 4s in this one. I do like Pepio. One thing, the Rays, and it continues to be their trouble. They were hitting right before the series, hitting lefties, Betty, but they're still 25th, 26th, hitting righties all year, and that's not good. Even with Corbin Burns, we've seen him blow up sometimes on the road, but he's just been money all year long. 6-2, 2.2 ERA, and I think he pitches well here again. There's no Rutschman in the lineup. He's been really hot. I've been on the O's too, and I wasn't on it yesterday. The first 2 games that you talked about, Bobano, and that team total is 3.5. Is it's a little juice at -130, but I think they could get there maybe today. Yeah, I just now that there's no 7.5, so I just can't be giving it out and playing it. But I think Pepio could have a decent start here as well. Low scoring tight game. They need to win bad, the Rays.
They do. Yeah.
Big time.
They do. You know what they do? Because guess what? The Blue Jays have passed them. And I didn't think it was possible for the Blue Jays to get out of last place in that division, but they have. They're out of last place. Tampa's in last place now in the AL East right now. So, again, they need some wins, that's for sure. Timothy, I've said this story a bunch. Bobano is a name that in grade 8, we all came up with a playground game where it was like superheroes against villains, and we had to come up with a cool superhero and villain name. Someone came up with Apollo. Someone came up with just these weird names, and it was supposed to be something that sounded cool and unique and weird and something off the top of your head. And I came up with Bobano. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me how. But that's back in grade 8. Like a superheroes versus villains game at recess. And I came up my cool sounding villain name, superhero name, Bobano. And the damn thing has stuck with me ever since. And that's like 30 years later or whatever. Not 30, but probably 25 years later. Because grade 8, I would have been, 13? Yeah, 25 years later. It's still with me. Bobano. And I've just kept using it. Like, what other nickname are you going to call me? Cameroony? I don't want to hear that. Or Cameron, like the rapper. I don't know. So Bobano just stuck. It is what it is. It's got a nice ring to it, Bobano. So what the hell? And it's been with me ever since. Anyway, that's that. All right, next up we've got Rockies and Twins. It is Dakota Hudson and Chris Paddock, the pitching matchup here. We've got Minnesota -250, home favorites, 8.5 being the total here in this one. You look at this Twins team. You look at Chris Paddock. He is someone I've not really thought all that highly of. And early in the season, he was pitching pretty well. I'm like, what's going on? He's pitching pretty well. Well, not so much lately. I mean, he got crushed by the Yankees in his last start. 7 runs, 6 hits, 4 innings. Did not exactly pitch well in that game. Dakota Hudson for the Rockies actually had gone through a pretty solid month of May after a rough beginning, but he got roughed up a little bit last time against Cincinnati. 4 runs, 5 hits, 4.1 innings, gave up a couple of home runs in that start. We'll see how he fares here tonight against the Minnesota Twins. My initial lean here is the over. It's over 8 -120. By the way, overs yesterday, what the hell were they? Something like 11-2 or 13-2 or something like that yesterday in Major League Baseball. It was an over bonanza as far as the totals went. But I would lean over in this one. I'm not a big fan of either Paddock or Dakota Hudson right now. C-Mac, what do you think here? Colorado, Minnesota.
Yeah, Paddock's been a little better at home, his ERA, but he's been getting hit a ton. Speaking of yesterday, I instead of the push, we got 2 runs there late in Guardians, Marlins. That was good, but not in another. I had the Tigers first 5 under 4, 8 runs.
Yeah.
in the bottom of the fifth.
I
The
had the
Tigers
Tigers
team.
side, first 5 and full
Oh,
game.
beautiful. Yeah,
Yep.
well,
Yep.
should have been on that. The problem is I've had that with Screwball with being such a big favorite is you got to lay the half run. And with their lineup, hey, if I knew they could hit like that,
Maybe they
shit.
hit for a change. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they hit for a change. But today, I do. I like this over as well. Dakota Hudson's had some decent starts. I saw him shut down the Dodgers a few starts ago, but he's pretty predictable. He hasn't been great on the road. His ERA is 5.5. I just looked, get the 8, take that over. I know there's 8s now. You mentioned it's right around minus 120, 125. And even the Twins, they're tough to trust. I like their team total. The 4.5 juice, but I'd go with that 2.5 first 5. Not everyone has that at their books, but Twins first 5 team total over 2.5. I think they can get 3 off Hudson early.
All right, we got the Yankees and the Royals. Next up, Carlos Rodon and Seth Lugo pitching matchup here. Yankees minus 130 road favorites, 8.5 the total. I'm on those Royals here. First 5 full game. There's a lot of reasons for me to like them here. They're slight home underdogs. Look, Rodon's been pretty good. It's definitely not a fade of Rodon because he's pitched very well. They're 5-0 in his last 5 starts. But the Royals have done a nice job against lefties. 269 as a team, 6.1 runs per game against lefties for the Royals this year. So I know Rodon's form's been good, but I think the Royals can match up well with that lineup. A lot of right-handed bats against this guy. Might be able to do some damage here tonight. Lugo had by far his worst start this season. Last time against Cleveland, he gave up 5 runs, 6 hits, 6 innings. But before that, he'd been lights out. Still 4-1 overall on the season, or 4-1, I should say, the Royals in his last 5 starts. You look at his home ERA, 2.72. It's very solid. His overall ERA is still 2.13 and a 9-1 record overall for Seth Lugo this season. But more than all of that, why do I kind of like the Royals tonight? The Sunday Night Baseball's travel spot. That's why. Yankees played Sunday Night Baseball against the Dodgers last night.
You got the win.
Yep. Yeah. The bullpen was used quite a bit, so I'm not sure they have a full-strength bullpen without a day off. And now you got to travel to Kansas City tonight. So I think there's a lot of things that add up to make the Royals a very live home underdog here tonight. So I like Royals first 5 full game, and I'd probably lean over a little bit in this game, maybe more so Royals team total. There is some concerns that Lugo starts to regress. Was that a sign of it against Cleveland? But still going to go by his full season numbers that he's been very good. So lean to the over, but what I like even more is the Royals here. First 5 full game money line split. C-Mac, what do you think here? Yanks, Royals.
Yeah, you rip through it. This is just a flat spot, plus 116. I got to take it. And Rodon's been very good. It's better on the road, in these last few starts. It's been showing. The Yankees, have been pounding the ball. They lose those. That was such a big game. And all those, the relievers were used, kind of got hit too in that Dodgers series, especially the last 2 games. They put a lot of innings in. So Lugo is going to regret. I mean, he's had some good start. Nothing like this year, but in the past where he's come out 5-1, we see that, especially the second half of the year, he could be a fade, especially if the Royals are still playing really, really good baseball. But yeah, Salvi Perez, Bobby Witt, look at all these. At Perez, 9 for 22 homers. I put his Ribby in. I think it was plus 140, 145. Great numbers. It's lefties, so I'm on that. And Royals full game plus 116.
All right. Next up, Blue Jays and Brewers. We've got Jose Barrios for Toronto, Colin Ray for Milwaukee. The Brewers minus 115, minus 120, home favorites, 8 being the total here in this game. I think it's a situational advantage for Milwaukee because Toronto is coming back from Oakland, where they spent the weekend, and now they're traveling, to the Midwest here, Wisconsin, no day off. Their bullpen was used quite a bit yesterday. It was a bullpen day for them against the Athletics. But I don't trust Colin Ray. That's the problem. I'm not a big Colin Ray fan. His home ERA hasn't been very good this year. And the Blue Jays lineup is starting to hit. It took a while, but finally the Blue Jays are starting the last week to week and a half, 2 weeks. They've started to hit the ball a little bit. So I think the Blue Jays could probably do damage. Barrios, great start to the year. That being said, he's always been a little bit weaker on the road than he's been at home. And there are some signs from him that, his xERA and a lot of his advanced numbers are all higher than his ERA. So it does concern me a little bit for him going into this game. Not to mention, I think his track record against Milwaukee hasn't necessarily been great in the past. If you look at it, Barrios, in his last start actually against the Brewers, 8 runs allowed in just 2.2 innings against Milwaukee. So it was not pretty. And he has given up home runs on the road this year, which would be probably another concern. But like I said, Ray, 5.17 ERA this season in his last 3 starts, which is not very good. 9 earned runs, 15.2 innings, 25 base runners he's allowed in the last 15.2 innings, Colin Ray. So that's really not what you want to see. That is for sure. 24-9 over in the last 33 home starts for Colin Ray as well. So this is another one. I think the over might be in play here with the Blue Jays and the Brewers tonight. C-Mac, what do you think here? Toronto, Milwaukee.
Yeah, this is one I think Jose's going to start to get hit. This seems like the perfect start. We just forgot to talk about on the Royals there versus the lefties. You mentioned it third. A little lighter on like the power numbers, but still very good. Even a little bit above the Orioles, tops in the AL. Brewers, what do we know about them? Tops here against righties, or second, depending on what you're all looking at. And they hit them hard. I think they get to them. The team total is 3.5, and it's like -135. I think you move that to 4 if you can with your team total. I think there could definitely be runs. I don't trust Colin Ray really at all either in this one, but seems like a really, really good Brewer spot here, huh?
Yeah, there's no question about that. All right, next up, as we continue along, we've got the Oakland Athletics and the San Diego Padres. Joey Estes for the A's and Dylan Cease for the Padres. San Diego about -230, home favorites, 7 being the total here in this matchup. You look at Oakland, tough loss for them yesterday in extra innings against Toronto. They lose 2 of 3 in that series. They'll look to bounce back. Joey Estes, a couple of starts at the end of May, he really got roughed up. The last 2 starts, he's really turned things around. I mean, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts, 1 earned run in his last 11.1 innings pitched against Tampa Bay and Seattle. So really good stuff from Estes. Can he continue it here? Dylan Cease, meanwhile, for San Diego, 3 runs in each of his last 2 starts. We'll see if he can continue to pitch well against Oakland here. He did face them once last year in Chicago, and he got roughed up. 9 runs, 4.1 innings, but he did pitch better against them here in Oakland. 3 runs and 5.1 innings. Don't really have much here. Side or total, complete pass for me. Nothing really. It's just not too expensive to back Cease and the Padres. And I don't know if I want to back Estes here necessarily either. But, did we buy into his last 2 starts? Because his last 2 starts, Estes, have been really good. So if you made me choose, maybe take a small shot on the A's here at the lofty price, first 5, maybe even just that, because you do worry about the bullpen. But I'm certainly, Cease and San Diego, probably the more reliable options, but I am never interested in San Diego and that patchwork lineup that can score 8 one game and score 1 the next game, laying -230. No, thank you. C-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, they scored a ton of runs, then do nothing. Yesterday, that was one. There wasn't enough. The D-backs weren't big enough dogs. It basically was a pick 'em yesterday in that game. Shout out to everyone in here. Hit the like button and the subscribe. This is a newer chance. Stimmy, my man in here. Kapansky, Timothy, Tone, my dude up here, Tone Meggins, Gold Jew, Trisha. Shout out to everyone in here. I like the under, the 7 here. 7 with Joey Estes. We know Petco Park, home games at night. This is a guy I've seen a ton being in Vegas and watched him, and he does got put away stuff that's very good, and he can get hit hard. And with Cease, we know what his problem is, the long ball. It's big with him, just like solo shots. Those 3-run shots, he can get roughed up, and that's been lately. That last start, he gave up a few, especially lately. But when he's on, he's very good. There's just no way I can back the Padres. This seems like a good spot. Maybe them score some runs off Estes, but I think you take the A's a shot here with them first 5 or nothing in this one.
All right, yeah, A's first 5. I don't think it's crazy. I don't know if I'll get there, but if I had
I
to
think
bet,
it's because it's going to be. If you think it's going to be low scoring, this is one maybe if you want to take a half. We have a 1-1 game,
yeah,
so
all right.
yeah.
Yeah, plus a half a run. So if it's tied after the first 5, you win. So that's definitely something to consider as well if you're going to, because I do lean Oakland just based on the price. I think a little overpriced is Cease and the Padres there. All right, next up, White Sox and Mariners. Eric Fetty and Logan Gilbert. Pitching matchup in this one. Seattle minus 220 home favorites, 7 the total in this game. Be careful with Eric Fetty because he's pitched like Wilson Alvarez way back in the day. I'm old enough to remember him with the White Sox back in the 90s. He's pitched like Wilson Alvarez at home, 0.95 ERA for Eric Fetty in Chicago. But look at the road ERA, 5.7. He's been a completely different pitcher away from Chicago, and obviously he's on the road tonight. So that would concern me about backing Eric Fetty here in this matchup because he's been good in Chicago. He has been not so good, especially lately on the road. Meanwhile, you look at Logan Gilbert, and Logan Gilbert's one of those pitchers I do trust him in Seattle. His home ERA is right around 3. It's pretty good. It's one of those deals. And Seattle, we know, is playing some, I would say, some better baseball. They've gone 6-4 in their last 10. They're now 7 above 500. Great home record, 21-11 for the Seattle Mariners at home. But again, the price isn't cheap. That's the only issue. I think I would lean to a Mariners first 5, minus a half. You'll get, around minus 130 or so with that. I think I can make a case for that. I'm not buying Fetty on the road. The numbers just have, 5.7 ERA for him on the road. I know that's the biggest home road dichotomy probably of any starter in baseball this year. 0.95 ERA for Fetty at home in Chicago. 5.7 ERA on the road. It's like almost a 5-run ERA difference, home versus away, for Eric Fetty this year. C-Mac, what do you think here? White Sox, Mariners.
Yeah, people ask about. So that lineup's just one of the last ones. I don't know why he play. Unless he feels good enough. But they're 46 and 21. I don't know why you push it. I know he's having an unbelievable year, but I think you just hold him off till he's
Soto. Yeah, to the long run. Playoffs and beyond. You want him as good to go as possible for that.
Yeah, for sure. Fetty, yeah, these starts. That one in Milwaukee, I thought he'd get hit. He gave up 4. The Blue Jays got to him. Even the Cardinals when they weren't hitting on May 4th at Cleveland. So it's tough because the White Sox playing a tad bit better, but this team's horrible. It's tough to take them. I think the year goes, we're going to get big ass numbers with them. There's going to be almost 400 with them in some of these games. And Mariners, Gilbert is better at home. He's got great stuff. This seems like a 5-1 type game here in Seattle tonight.
Yeah,
another 7 where I kind of lean under, but I'd like to have a hook here at least in these games. 7's really, really low.
Yeah, I don't necessarily blame you there. No, as far as the total, very low. You're not getting a bargain at 7 with that. All right, final game: Houston Astros, San Francisco Giants. We've got Spencer Spaghetti Arrighetti here for Houston. Kyle Harrison, the lefty, for the Giants. Houston minus 115, minus 120 road favorites, 8 the total in this game. I got a little piece of Houston here. They're playing better. I know they had that bad start to the season, but suddenly they got a winning record their last 10. They played some better ball. Meanwhile, San Francisco's going the other way. They had a pretty decent start. Now they're just 3-7 in their last 10 games. And also going the other way is their starting pitcher for tonight, Kyle Harrison. He hasn't pitched well here the last 3 starts. Gave up 5 runs in 5 innings to the Mets, 4 runs, 12 hits to the Phillies in 5 innings, and then 4 runs, 8 hits, 6 innings against Arizona. Didn't pitch great there either. So his form hasn't been great. The Astros, if you look at their lineup, suddenly they're starting to hit lefties again. We knew it was going to happen at some point. But the last 10 games, 280 batting average, 5.8 runs per. That's the Astros we know. The Astros that usually can hit left-handed pitching pretty good. They're starting to get back to that now. Meanwhile, their starter for tonight, Spencer Arrighetti, he's actually pitching a little bit better for this group right now. The walks, 3 in each game. He's still got to do a better job with the control, but he's negated hard hit contact. He's only given up 4 earned runs in his last 14 innings. So he's pitched a little bit better. San Francisco's never seen him before. So that's a little bit of an advantage. I think Houston's worth a look here in this one, around even money, short road favorite. C-Mac, what do you think here? Houston, San Fran.
Yeah, they need to start winning baseball games. Yesterday was a tough loss. I know they won the first few, and I'm glad I looked at them on the run line yesterday, but I just stuck with the team total. I think you could look at that here. 4.5s, I really got to like, especially there. It's plus 110. You could probably get the 4 right around minus 110 if you flip it just in case with the push. Yeah, Giants finally got beat up yesterday morning. That was a great spot for the Rangers after getting drubbed those first 2 games. I was kicking myself for not being on it, and the market showed it. So, yeah, I like the Astros in this game. I just, Harrison comes back here at home. The Giants have been tough to figure out betting them this year. The lineup's not very good, and they haven't been hitting some of these guys. It's been rough for them, Bobano. So, versus the lefty you mentioned, Astros up to 260 at least for the year, and the last 2 weeks, last month, have been a lot better at top 5 in this one. So I agree. I think you look at the Astros or nothing here. Could be low scoring though in this spot maybe after yesterday's games. Traveler.
Yeah, that was an insane.
And Arrighetti though, yep. What do we get from him? Just to hit on him, he was just so awful on the road. He's been better. That's what's tough too, because this Giants team, maybe we get to him. I think what they want to do with him, he can't see lineups through the 3rd time. Like, he's got to go twice. He's going to go just 4 innings. And if he gives up 2 runs, that's solid, maybe 5, and you just get him out of there. So we'll see what he can do here tonight.
Yeah, that's the one little fly in the ointment that I'm a little leery of as far as backing Houston. I am on Houston, but is Arrighetti, but he has pitched a little bit better. As long as the walks, he doesn't go wild with control issues, I think he can pitch okay. And like I said, the Astros are heating up as a team, especially against lefties, and Kyle Harrison is a struggling lefty right now for San Francisco. He has not pitched well here his last few starts. So I think it's opportunity for Houston. You could always take Houston team total instead of money line too if you're a little leery of Arrighetti.
Worked out for me yesterday.
Yeah.
The 4.5 was I think even money versus the Angels, and they ended up losing the game. And so
I might do that too. And I have first 5 full game money line split, and then split it 3 ways. Put a little team total in there, just in case we get a little concern with Arrighetti's performance here tonight. All right, I talked about Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final, Edmonton, Florida, on the Ice Guys show earlier. So if you want my thoughts on the game, you can check that show out earlier today. But we'll give C-Mac the opportunity in the floor now. Game 2, Stanley Cup Final. Obviously, Bobrovsky was just phenomenal in Game 1. Here's the Edmonton problem, and I said this earlier. You can't expect Florida to play that bad again. That was your opportunity to win a game, and you didn't. You missed your opportunity. Now you're going to have to play even better if you're Edmonton tonight, because Florida's not going to play that way again. Florida will step up, play better here tonight in Game 2. Can the Oilers tie up the series, C-Mac? What do you think? Game 2, Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah, I think they can, but I just think the Panthers are the better team. That was so true. The goal early, and then just not getting anything. The Oilers all over them. Tons of shots on that. Couldn't get, and Bob just stood on his head. There's some unbelievable saves the other night. So it's tough. I have a Panthers ticket, 12-1 to win it. So it's I just feel like riding that out. I do like some props in this game. I took McDavid. He had 6. He's got to be the guy. He's got to get shots. It's 3.5. It's even money. I
like it.
You could eat. Yeah, you like it? Okay. Draisaitl, I know it's 2.5 minus 130. It's secondary for me. I haven't bet that, but I do have the McDavid. And, this guy for the Panthers, he finally got an assist and a point. The scoring's been down this playoffs, but Montour, I took it because of the price. Half a point, plus 160. When he's going, Bobano, which I think will play big for them, I took it again. I think he can definitely get a point tonight for him. So I took that at plus 160. Just 2 props that I'm on here tonight. But it should be It should be good. It'd be huge. This line's telling that this game's tight. I just think the Panthers, are going to win this thing, and it'd be huge. But I don't know. The talent's there. I just think with Edmonton, I think they could. I think they need to strike early and make kind of a. They just don't get down, in this one, because the Panthers have been so good, kind of with leads. It seemed like lately, and in tight games. Not that the Oilers. That's why they're here. Their defense has stepped up. They won tight games, 3-2, 2-1, which I would always said, hey, they'll never go anywhere if they can't do that.
Yeah.
And they've improved. Defense has been very good. The penalty kill. But I can't wait to watch it. Maybe bet it live,
Definitely the main event on a very quiet Monday night of sports. You've only got MLB, and then, of course, you got this big game, too, in the Stanley Cup final tonight. But, yeah, definitely looking forward to it here. Oilers and Panthers tonight. Like I said, Edmonton, when they don't score on the power play, they're in trouble. And they had their chances on the power play the other night. They did. They had 4 power plays and 0 for 4. And, again, they go 0 for in this series, each game on the power play. Their chances to win drastically fall.
Bingo. You know why? They have to get those, because I said Panthers best 5-on-5 team, I thought, all year long. So if you don't get those goals, yeah, it'll be tough sledding. So they got to score. That's just been their bread and butter for 4 or 5 years now. So they got to get goals on the power play.
This run for the Edmonton Oilers of the last, I would say, 2-3 years has been, for a single team, one of the best power plays of all time, probably the last 2 years.
It's up there.
How good it's been. And like I say, but Florida's penalty kill is very formidable. I know Edmonton's 30 straight penalty kills is getting a lot of the talk, and a lot of the spotlight, but Florida's got a very good penalty kill as well. And they certainly showed it in game 1, keeping Edmonton off the board when they had the power play in that one. All right, great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And again, we're on Wednesday, our next show, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. We'll save the NBA talk till then, because the NBA is not back till Wednesday anyway. So on Wednesday's show, we'll preview game 3 of the NBA Finals, which is going to be pretty much a must-win game 3 for the Dallas Mavericks back home against the Boston Celtics. So Wednesday, we'll be back to talk MLB and game 3 of the NBA Finals. But we'll wrap up this edition of Bet with Bobano with best bets. Connor Mack, what do you like for your best bet here tonight?
Well, it's the bet. I think we're both on it. First thing I bet this morning, Royals plus 116. I do have the other bet in this game. I'll just throw it, a little combo here, because I have Salvi Perez, RBI plus 145. So 2 for me there in the Royals game.
It's a good situational bet. I agree. Kansas City there, plus 116 against the New York Yankees. Best bet for Connor Mack. My best bet, I'm going to go to that Jays Brewers over 8, minus 112. I was going to use Colorado, Minnesota. It's moved to 8.5. So I'll go with Toronto and Milwaukee over 8 instead. I think we'll see runs here in this game. Barrios, a little regression due. And by the way, he got rocked the last time he played Milwaukee as well. But I think the Jays and their lineup is starting to percolate just a little bit. And I think they can do some damage against Ray. Ray has not been very good the last few starts. So both bullpens, too, not as good. And the Blue Jays used theirs a lot yesterday in Oakland. So Toronto, Milwaukee, over 8 for my best bet for Monday night. Great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat.
Look for long balls in that game, too, because I kind of agree with you. Both pitchers can give up the jack. So look the homers in both teams.
They've been dinger prone, both of them. There's no question. So maybe a good home run prop kind of game as well. There's no doubt. Shout out to everyone in the chat. We appreciate you guys. Again, we'll be back. Yes, born from Hamilton. I've been in Hamilton. Yes, that's exact. Most people know that. I'm Hamilton. That's actually a suburb of Hamilton. I'm not right in the city. I'm in the suburb of Hamilton. So that's the Hamilton man. Going to my first Ticats game of the season at home on Sunday night. Looking forward to that. Shout out to everyone in the chat. For Connor Mack, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. Bet like Tony Soprano. Bet with Bobano. And we'll see you again on Wednesday for another edition of Bet with Bobano.
Peace.